Well, well, well. We're back again, going through some of the intricacies and challenges, joys, and laughter of my repatriation home to Ghana. We have an expression in Ghana that says, Jinyami. And Jinyami has a symbol, which is the symbol of the supremacy of God. And this chapter leads into that because it says, except God, I fear none. It is God that makes this possible. And this chapter, which we call Miracles of Miracles, was made possible because of God. We finally, after going through so many changes at the embassy and getting reports and everything, it was truly the ancestors and the Creator that were on our side to make things happen for us the way that they did. So I call this a miracle of miracles. We arrived at John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York and were met at the airport by a public relations representative from American Airlines. She secured us a private waiting room during our 3-hour layover in New York before departing for Washington, D.C. We were also met by the Nation of Islam Security, a really good brother who stayed with us until we boarded our connecting flight to Washington, D.C. And he was wonderful, acting as a buffer between Prince and the people who gawked and acted foolish and impolite. When our flight was called, the brother accompanied us to the door of the aircraft. Well, you know they're not doing that no more. You can't get to that door unless you're getting on that plane. Our flight to Washington was approximately 1 hour, and we were met at the airport by Dr. Alim Mohammed, the medical director for the Nation of Islam, and other members of the NOI and the press, and taken to Howard Inn Hotel, where we would be staying until after Prince's surgery. Dr. Etienne Massak, chief of plastic surgery, was another miracle. When Prince Edmund's plight was brought to his attention by his former teacher and medical colleague, Dr. Alim Mohammed, he immediately responded and sought the assistance of Howard University Hospital in Washington, D.C. Dr. Massak had previously visited the Ivory Coast of West Africa, where he successfully restored the face of a youngster who had been severely burned. And being the very humble leader that he is, he pulled together a dream team of dedicated, skilled, and compassionate physicians who were to perform the surgery for the removal of this massive tumor that was growing out of Prince's mouth. Prince was scheduled for evaluation from all the services that would be involved in his surgery. A lot of this was frightening for him. Here he was for the first time in this big city, in this big modern hospital with so many strangers probing and examining him. Every day there were tests, and some days Prince fought against going. When you asked what he'd prefer to be doing, he'd respond, "Look at television." This was a big thing for him, and at times he would lock himself in his room, turn up the volume, and pretend he didn't hear us calling to him. We were having a rough time. A very special person, Brother Arthur X, befriended Prince, escorting him everywhere. He became his father, his friend, his brother. One night, Prince had waited up until 11:30 p.m. for Brother Arthur, who had promised to take him out for ice cream. Prince refused to take off his clothes, or go to bed, and finally fell asleep in his clothes. At 11:15 a.m. in the early morning, Brother Arthur showed up. He had been delayed at work. As soon as Prince heard his voice, he was out of the bed in a flash. Not to be deterred, Brother Arthur said, "A promise is a promise, and Prince and I are going out on the town." And off they went. When it was time for visits to the hospital, Brother X was there. One day at the hospital, one of the physicians who had been called in to observe an examination began to discuss Prince's case as though he was not even there. As he continued to talk, Prince was becoming more and more agitated. Having walked in on the conversation and seeing the situation, I asked the doctor to please step outside. "Doctor," I asked, "where is your sensitivity? You're talking about Prince like he isn't even there." "Well," he said, "he doesn't speak English." "You're wrong," I said. "He speaks and understands English quite well, thank you. You should not make assumptions." But the damage was already done, and when we returned to the room, Prince had disappeared. We looked all over the hospital for him, but no one had seen him. Brother X finally found him terrified and hiding in the basement of the hospital, in the boiler room. Another time, he just walked out of the hospital and came back to the hotel, which was a block away from the hospital. When I answered the knock at the door, there he stood. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "Aren't you supposed to be at the hospital?" "I'm finished," he replied sadly, and went into his room and turned on the television. I didn't question him further and returned to my room. Shortly thereafter, the phone rang. When I answered, an excited voice asked, "Have you seen Prince? We can't find him anywhere." "He's here. What's the problem?" I responded. Just then, there was an urgent knock on the door. It was Brother Arthur, one of the doctors and a security officer from the hospital. Prince had run away from the hospital, and they were frantically looking for him. By this time, Prince was lying down in his room, sleeping. He had been so frightened. This was the 5th operation he was undergoing. 3 times he had surgery in Ghana, once in England, and now in the United States. We decided not to awaken him and assured the doctor that we would bring him back to the hospital in the morning. When Prince awoke, we all talked to him, and Brother Arthur assured him that he would not leave him and that he would be there for him until everything was finished, and he returned to Ghana. That seemed to allay some of Prince's fears, and the following day Brother Arthur was there to take Prince back to the hospital. He was admitted and the surgery scheduled for the following morning. And true to his word, Brother Arthur never left his side, staying with him until he was rolled into the operating room. The hands of the Almighty God were on Prince in the operating room of Howard University Hospital that day, and was manifested through a dedicated team of physicians and support staff who offered their skill, their love, and compassion to relieve his suffering and transform his face. The surgical team came from throughout Howard University Hospital, requiring the expertise of many medical disciplines. Their surgery took more than 14 hours to complete, while music from our motherland Ghana played during surgery to provide a familiar atmosphere for Prince during his surgery. Although he was asleep during most of it, the sound of the music could still filter through to his subconscious. As the surgeons and physicians working in the operating room took short periodic breaks, food was prepared and provided for them by the sisters from the Nation of Islam. The surgery required removing the largest part of the tumor located in his lower jaw. It was the largest tumor of its kind removed at Howard University Hospital. Tumors were also removed from his upper jaw, his nose, and skull. Plastic surgery was necessary to reshape and remold both his upper and lower jaw. The tumor had also destroyed most of the bridge of his nose, which necessitated borrowing a piece of bone from his hip to rebuild his nose. The surgeons also remolded his forehead because it was slightly oversized, causing his hairline to recede. But the miracle had been accomplished. Tired but joyful, the surgical dream team, as I call them, finally emerged from the operating room with the news that the surgery had been a success and our young Prince Edmund was on the road to recovery. It was truly a One Africa surgical dream team of brothers and sisters who had come from different countries in Africa and the diaspora. Plastic surgery was performed by Dr. Etienne Massac Jr. from the Virgin Islands, Dr. Robert H. Dennis II from Liberia, Dr. Monica Joyner, and Dr. Joan Coker, African Americans. Oral surgery, Dr. Dana Jackson, OMFS, Dr. Marcus Daniel, Dr. Fred Campbell, DDS, African Americans. Ortholyngology, ENT, Dr. Ernest Myers and Neil Brickhouse, African Americans. Dr. Arthur Banunu, South Africa. Anesthesiology, Dr. Bafor Osei, Ghana, West Africa. Dr. Barbara Roberts, Jamaica, West Indies. Dr. Cheryl Baruch and Dr. John Sampson, African Americans. Dr. Haley Mezimbi, Eritrea, Ethiopia. Operating room nurses, Janice Bostrom, Helen Toms, Frankie Robinson, Claudette Wrigley, Megan Houston, and Albert Pearson, African Americans. And medical videographer, Robert Brown, African America. They truly represented a united One Africa dream team in the true spirit of oneness. These physicians donated their medical expertise, skill, and money to give a youngster from Ghana, West Africa, a new and brighter future. With the surgery now behind us, the recuperation period began, and according to Dr. Massac, it would be 6 weeks or more before Prince could return to Ghana. When Dr. Massac was asked to summarize some of the factors that might prohibit African countries from providing the kind of surgery performed on Prince, he stated, "Since there is such a shortage of doctors in Ghana and Africa as a whole, and a vast number of people, the ratio of people to the numbers of doctors could prevent this from happening. Howard University is unique in that sense because there is a concentration of highly trained and skilled Black physicians in one location. The high degree of medical expertise is what this operation required. Additionally, there are factors involving follow-up care, working relationships, and kindred spirits. All that we've done was pull this together to give the youngster the care I think will make everyone proud. Any doctor in the world with the medical expertise could do the job. However, the brotherhood and sisterhood of being African adds a little bit more." The miracle continued because neither the family nor the educational sponsorship program was able to pay for the many other expenses incurred for this undertaking. However, once again, the brothers and sisters of the Nation of Islam, Muhammad's Mosque No. 4, under the direction of Dr. Aileen Muhammad, director of the Abundant Life Clinic, coordinated the fundraising efforts to maintain the family during our stay in the United States. They saw to our every need. Not a stone was left unturned. Housing and food were provided, and we were made very comfortable. Donations came in from churches, organizations, and concerned community residents in and out of Washington, D.C. A group of underprivileged, inner city, the term used by the person making the presentation, inner city youth from a summer work training program donated 800 mollies of their earnings to Prince and prepared 4 huge greeting cards, which all of them signed. A taxi driver was taking me to the hospital one day, recognized my face from a picture he had seen in the newspaper, and refused to accept the fare when we reached my destination. "It's the least I can do for the little prince," he said. Sharon Pratt Kelly, mayor of Washington, D.C., also pledged her support to Prince and his family in securing funds and provisions for our stay until Prince was ready to travel. Dr. Aileen Muhammad best described love as HELP, and that is what the brothers and sisters of the Nation of Islam and the African American community so abundantly demonstrated. Their love continued to manifest itself in the good deeds they performed. Care and concern for a youngster go beyond mere sympathy and is akin to welcoming a long-lost relative, Brother Simeon Booker, editor of the Final Call newspaper, remarked. Most of the people we interacted with truly demonstrated what we are supposed to be about as African people. Every day I woke up thanking the Almighty Creator and thinking it can't get any better than this, but it did. There was also a farewell reception held for Prince in Minister Farrakhan's downtown suite in Washington, D.C. With Prince sitting by his side, the minister remarked to the members of Muhammad Mosque No. 4, whom had been our primary host family, organizers and facilitators during our stay in Washington, "You have proven and shown the love of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that he has placed in our hearts for our people." He then thanked Allah, God, for the medical team who performed the surgery. I don't know how much more I can do but sing the praises of Howard University Hospital. Many of our own people don't even trust our own doctors for heart and liver transplants. That's the kind of mental sickness we must destroy. Dr. Etienne Massac, who had accompanied Prince to the reception, responded by saying, "This effort shows our innate skills and abilities to demonstrate that we as African people can build bridges and help someone in need." During the brief but emotionally filled meeting, Minister Farrakhan further remarked, "Because of young Prince's life experiences, he will grow to be a king to lead our people to great heights. He will be an example of courage and strength to the world." A great comforter to Prince had been Brother Arthur 2X, who was a constant companion and father figure who helped Prince over the many emotional and traumatic hurdles that he had to overcome. At times, he was the only person that could calm his fears and get Prince to cooperate with his doctors. During the reception, Minister Farrakhan rewarded Brother Arthur's expression of love by bestowing upon him the name Muhammad Abdul Salam. Prince and his mother returned home to Ghana the first week in September. Brother Muhammad escorted us to the airport on the day of departure and gave Prince an even bigger surprise when he entered the airplane with him, escorting him from Washington, D.C. to New York and staying with him until his departure to Ghana. Other brothers, sisters, and children of the Nation of Islam, as well as personal friends of mine, and Nana also came to the airport to see him off. We had been blessed beyond expectation. I continuously thank the Creator for the manifold blessings that had been bestowed upon us, for the precious gifts of love, compassion, unity, and friendship. for a little prince who had drawn us together to help bridge the gap between the African American community and our African brothers and sisters on the continent. Additional funds were donated and given to Prince's mother for the construction of a small house. School supplies, clothing, and many other things for Prince and his brothers were also given by our brothers and sisters in the African American community. It had been a long and difficult task, but the job had been done. With Prince on his way back to Ghana, I stayed in New York for a few additional weeks to visit with my family and friends, whom I had not seen for years. I am happy to report that as of the writing of this book, Prince is still doing quite well. The tumor has not returned. He has completed senior secondary high school and was currently pursuing his career in accounting and business management. However, further plastic surgery would be necessary to rebuild his facial structure. I must add at this point that it has been years since Prince had his surgery, and he now works as an administrator at the University of Cape Coast. He was blessed even further that the person that sponsored him through the educational sponsorship program paid for his education from college. And the last I heard from him, which has been quite a while now, he's gainfully employed and doing quite well. Additionally, 11 other children in our sponsorship program had completed senior secondary school and have either gone on to further and pursue their education, are self-employed, or have secured employment in the trades that they had undertaken during the course of study. This has been made possible due to the unselfish love and contributions of the following sponsors who came from America. Mr. and Mrs. George and Hazel Miller sponsored 2 children. Mrs. Elaine Turner, Sister Pauline Williams sponsored 2 children. Dr. Mark Fields, Dr. and Mrs. Yubi Metcalf sponsored 2 children. Brother Abdulu Oshiemi, Brother Eric Ruffin, Sister Mildred Saunders, and Sister Mabel Haddock. These are people that showed their love and made it possible for some bright African children to get a good education and ultimately get a good job. To some of these folks who have joined the ancestors, I and those children and their families will be forever, forever grateful.
So we're done with this chapter?
Yep.
Okay.
So